welcome you to this edition of EMU Today TV. My name is Mark S. Lee, and I'm your host. And we're so pleased that you're joining us for another great edition of this show. We have two very special topics we're going to be referencing. The first one, we're going to focus on EMU Alumni, the recent EMU Alumni Awards presented back in 2020. And then the back half of the show, we're going to be talking about the COVID precautions that the university continues to implement in these unusual times. I'm so pleased to welcome Ms. Farah Harb, and she's a graduate from the Eastern Michigan University with her MBA in 2012 and is currently working as a global education analyst for the Ford Motor Company, the fund and community services area. Farah, thank you for joining me. How you doing?
Hi, Mark. Thanks for having me. I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm so glad to have you. And we want to first of all say congratulations because you recently were named one of the distinguished alums of Eastern Michigan for 2020.
Yeah.
Please tell us about that.
Thank you. It was such an honor. I was very surprised. I had no idea I was even being submitted for that and up for that award. So I was very honored, and I'm very thankful to be selected for such a distinguished award. So thank you guys so much at Eastern. It's very much appreciated.
You're very welcome and well-deserved, of course. And to make sure that we're clear, you have your undergrad from the University of Michigan in Dearborn, and you have your MBA at EMU. So talk to us about what your decision, why did you decide to go to Eastern Michigan for your MBA? And by the way, what do you have your undergraduate degree in, and what do you have your MBA in?
Yeah, so I knew that I wanted to study business as a college student, and I was trying to navigate through what I wanted to do in my career. And I had selected human resources because I thought I'd go into recruiting and help students get start a job and so forth. I really was into student talent and so forth. And so I studied HR as an undergrad, and I wanted to continue on with my MBA with a concentration in HR in hopes that I could potentially get into even organizational behavior, enhancing people's work ethics and so forth in the workplace. And so I studied HR for undergrad and my MBA with a specialization in HR. And as I was deciding on where I wanted to go for my MBA, that was a big piece of that. I really wanted to pick somewhere that had an HR focus and specialization. There's a handful of universities in Michigan that offer that. And at the time, I had been working at Wayne State University, and so I didn't want to go too far. And Eastern is very reputable for their business program. So that was how I made my decision.
And so as an alum, talk to those viewers who are watching us today and talk about your experience at EMU and what tools did the university provide you as you were preparing for your current career at the Ford Motor Company? What were some of the tools that were important to you?
Yeah, I think the one thing in my master's program that I would share with others is we were so used to getting a syllabus and an outline of what was expected in undergrad, high school, and so forth. But at Eastern in our master's program, it was really sink or swim. And that's life. That's reality. And I think that prepared me for my future careers because, when I got to Ford, there wasn't a training guide. There wasn't a syllabus. There really wasn't anything. And I think we're just not ready for that after college sometimes. And I think Eastern better prepared me for that because it was just a basic syllabus of these are your assignments all semester. Submit a 60-page paper and good luck. And it was, okay, so what do you want in my paper? And it's like, this is a question at hand, here you go. And, that's what work is really like. Every day you go in, you don't know what the day is going to look like. You can have a plan. That doesn't mean it's going to go that way. And we're so used to that. We're trained that way as kids, adults, and early adults in college that we expect things to go the way that the syllabus says so. But our life in reality and at work is not that way. And I think more than anything, that's what Eastern prepared me for my master's program.
And talk about your relationship with the professors in terms of helping you. Did you have a good relationship with the professors? Did they provide you with the proper level of direction? And did you feel totally prepared when you graduated into the corporate space?
Yep, I felt like a lot of my professors came from the corporate world, which I really much appreciated. And so I think they brought that sense of tough love, but they were willing to answer questions and, have a meeting with you if needed. Or they also would have group work, which in the workspace, that's pretty relevant as well, because when you work on a project, it's not just you. There's a team of people that are working with you. And so you can count on each other. You can ask each other. There are people with certain strengths that are stronger than yours, and you have certain strengths that you bring to the group. And I think allowing us to do that in a group setting was great because we were able to rely on each other for different things. And that's what you do in the workspace. And so again, I think that helped prepare me for corporate life. And that's the relevancy they brought to the classroom.
And speaking of the corporate life, you're working at Ford Motor Company. What specifically are your responsibilities at Ford?
Yep. So I work for the Ford Motor Company Fund. So it's the philanthropic side of Ford. And I get to oversee education, which is what I found my passion throughout the years that I was in school. And then as I graduated, I'm really passionate about working with students and helping them succeed. And so my work at the Ford Motor Company Fund is very much around education globally. And so I get to focus on not just scholarships, which are very important, along with vehicle team support for engineering students, but another piece of my job that I love and I get to provide are grants that provide students with the opportunity to do work in their communities that would be relevant to the work that they are studying. And so whatever their major is, our goal is to provide programs and initiatives for them to work on with nonprofits in the community relevant to their major. So when they graduate, they can then say, I worked on this project, let's say marketing related, and they have some relevancy in their interview to talk about and the challenges they may have faced throughout that project in their teams and their success as well. So we provide them with real world experience through grants that we provide connected to nonprofits and the work that they do. So I love being able to do that and providing students with that opportunity. It's a lot of fun, but it's also rewarding to know that they can use that experience as they apply for future careers.
And as you talk about, excuse me, teaching and working with students, you've been very much involved with a program at Eastern Michigan, EMU's Digital Divas STEM program. It's my understanding that you serve on the strategic planning committee for. Talk about the program and talk about your experience with it and why it's important to you.
Yeah, so I loved that program. I was the keynote speaker at the event last year, or I should say in 2019. Last year was such a blur. But I was, again, honored to be even selected as the keynote speaker for that. I was surprised when I got that email, and I was very excited. Talking to young teens and helping them really believe in themselves and build that confidence. It wasn't just about STEM, but that Digital Divas event was very much for me. It was close to my heart. I have nieces around that age. And so I'm constantly trying to encourage young people, young women, to believe in themselves and to believe in each other. And so that platform gave me the chance to talk to these young girls and help them really promote their own success or talk about the ways that they want to grow or what they want to do in their future and believe in themselves. And that was really my mission in the conversation that I had with them and being a keynote. I very much focused on being confident in who you are, knowing that you leave a brand and image with everyone that you meet. They think something or nothing of you. And so what do you want that to be? So talking about that with them. And then the last piece for me was really, how do we build up each other? In this world of corporate life and in life in general, I think everyone's always competing. But I think if you're really good at something, how can you help somebody else be really good at that too? So talking to them about not being so much at competition with one another, but let's bring each other a chair to the table and let's help build each other up and grow together. So talking to them about that too.
And as you're talking, we had a chance to see some pictures. Obviously, a lot of young people are engaged, and we have a couple of pictures of you speaking. Truly a wonderful experience. And I love what you just said in terms of providing support and direction for them. And which is one of the reasons that we want to have you on. So we want to highlight our alums in terms of what you've done, what you're doing at Ford and what you're doing at the university. For those students who might be watching today, give them some advice and counsel. They're going to be graduating, some later this year. Some are going to be looking for their first corporate job or opportunity. What advice would you give to those students coming out of Eastern Michigan as they start interviewing and getting themselves prepared for the next phase of their life?
I could talk about this for hours, but I will not obviously do that. A couple things I always want to tell alumni or soon to be alumni or students is that it's just a few key factors. And one is you carry your brand wherever you go. And so I think we don't realize that sometimes. We don't know that we are our own brand, just like a Nike or a Coca-Cola or an Apple. You are who you are, and people remember you for that. And so you want to just know, what is that image that you're leaving behind? What is that reputation you're building for yourself? What do you want it to be? And then working on that. And always presenting that as who you are and the way that you speak and the answers that you give. So keeping that in mind. The other piece is confidence. It's the best thing you can wear. If you believe in yourself, then no one else can tear that down. But if you walk into that interview and you're thinking, I'm not going to get this job, well, guess what? You're probably not going to get that job. So if you don't believe that you can, why should someone that doesn't know you believe that you can? So it starts within. I know that sounds kind of cliche, but it's very true. To those that are watching, I started teaching at the University of Michigan Dearborn at 26 years old. And if you ask me, I would ever do that, I probably would tell you maybe when I'm 40, 50 years old. I had to write a paper in my MBA program about my future career. Well, that was teaching at a university. And I did that a few years after graduating with my master's. So it's not luck, it's work, it's building your brand, your reputation, and bringing everything you have to the table and believing in yourself. And I think I didn't let my age get to me. There are many times that it almost did, and I had to kind of bring myself back. I made assistant director at 23 years old. I would have never thought I could do that too when I was at Wayne State. I thought my age would hold me back, and guess what, guys? It didn't. And so I look younger than I am. I am young, and I never let my age get in the way. So don't let anything stop you. If you believe in who you are and the skills that you bring, talk about it and talk yourself up, and you can do it.
I think that's great advice, and that's clearly one of the reasons you've been selected as a Young Alumni, the Young Alumni Award for Eastern Michigan, one of our distinguished alums. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate you again for receiving the award. Continue to do all the great things, and we wish you much continued success as you continue on with your career at Ford and beyond. And thank you very much for joining us today. I do appreciate that, Farah.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. And in fact, what we're going to do is we're going to show you a video acknowledging all the winners for the 2020 Distinguished Alumni Awards program. And you're going to see Ms. Farah Harb as one of the recipients. So sit back and relax and enjoy the video. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about the COVID precautions being taken place by the university.
Greetings from Eastern Michigan University. My name's Jim Smith, president of EMU. As we work through these challenging times, we want to take a few moments to acknowledge and congratulate the 2020 EMU Alumni Award recipients. These individuals exemplify the 180,000 alumni who positively influence their families, professions, communities, and the world every day. The success they've attained in their personal and professional lives is inspiring. They are true ambassadors that represent the university using their knowledge, charisma, perseverance, and positive influence to contribute to the larger community. We have 7 recipients selected for the 2020 EMU Alumni Awards. The 2 recipients for the Outstanding Young Alumni Award are Farah Harb and Zach Weigel. Farah is the Ford Motor Company Fund Global Education Programs Analyst. She serves on EMU's Strategic Planning Committee, has been involved with Digital Divas, and the EMU sponsorship through Ford Community Corps program. Zach, founder of Gamers Outreach and Gamers for Giving fundraiser, has also been recognized as an emerging leader by Los Angeles Children's Hospital, Forbes 30 Under 30, and as a CNN hero. We have 3 recipients for the Alumni Achievement Award: Kevin Alschuler, Chad Newton, and Dr. Derek Coleman. Kevin is Associate Professor and Attending Psychologist at the University of Washington School of Medicine and has made significant contributions to the area of rehabilitation psychology. Dr. Alschuler represents the university and our doctoral program on a national level for clinical psychology. Chad is the CEO of Wayne County Airport Authority. He's served on the EMU Alumni Association Board, is an FBI graduate, and has many accolades through his military and public service career. Derek is superintendent for River Rouge School District, where he was able to boost enrollment in the district and lead efforts to open a new STEM-focused school and a school-based health center. Dr. Coleman ties his success to EMU and serves on the Foundation's Board of Trustees. Bina Roselle Elliott, Senior Vice President and Chief Enterprise Responsibility Officer at Fifth Third Bank, is the recipient for the Distinguished Alumni Award. Bina Roselle's service to EMU includes being a former Foundation trustee and supporting a variety of initiatives through giving and advocating. Lastly, the John W. Porter Distinguished Service Award goes to Emeritus Staff Greg Peoples, who has for 28 years given experience to EMU as an administrator. Currently, Greg serves as the Ombuds Development Director for Washtenaw Intermediate School District. The annual Alumni Awards is the 59-year tradition to honor our alumni and acknowledge their accomplishments. Within every one of them is the drive and dedication that we believe every EMU graduate holds. As a result of the COVID-19 public health crisis, we regret that we are unable to hold the annual Alumni Awards dinner as previously planned. However, I wanted to take this opportunity to express that we're incredibly proud of our recipients and all they have done. We're excited to welcome them back to campus in 2021 to honor them in person at the 60th Annual Alumni Awards.
I'd like to welcome you back to EMU Today TV. I hope you had the chance to enjoy that video, and we want to make sure that we acknowledge the 2020 distinguished alums here at Eastern Michigan University. We're proud of all of you. Continue to do great things as you represent our great institution. And talking about Eastern Michigan University, we know that we're living in these very unusual times, specifically known as COVID. And I'm so pleased to welcome our Director of Nursing Operations, Sherry Bumpus, and she's going to share with us over the next few minutes what the university is doing as we continue to evolve this academic year. Sherry, thank you for joining me. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Good. So glad to have you. Now, let me just clarify, you are the Director of Nursing Operations, but you also have a couple more titles at Eastern Michigan. Why don't you share those with us as well?
Sure. In addition to being the Director of Nursing Operations, I'm also a faculty member in nursing, and I'm the Director of the EMU Telehealth Clinic.
Okay, and you're also on, there's a steering committee. I know there's several steering committees as it relates to COVID, so you're also on one of the COVID steering committees. Talk about your role there as well.
Certainly. The Eastern Michigan University has a COVID steering committee, which is comprised of a number of upper level administrators, including the president, the provost, the chief of staff, and a number of other administrators and faculty members, representatives from the faculty senate, and myself and also the director of nursing are on that committee as well. And together we really provide a interdisciplinary approach to managing COVID on campus.
We've had the opportunity in past editions of EMU Today TV, we've interviewed several times President Smith, and he's provided us his perspective on what's going on as it relates to the university and COVID. Here we are, we just started the winter semester. It was delayed several days, obviously, after the holidays, and here we are mid-January. So kind of give us an update in terms of the university, in terms of what it's been doing to continue to make sure that the students are safe, the faculty are safe, all the key stakeholders when they come to campus. Talk about what the university is doing to ensure the safe protocol currently being implemented as students have come back for the winter semester.
Certainly. So a lot of what we did in the fall, we're doing and doing better in the winter, because in the fall, we'd never done it before. So we have a little bit better idea of how to do things. For example, for students returning to their residence housing on campus, we had tests sent to all of them, and they're required to take a COVID test prior to and having it negative before they may return to campus. We did, as you already mentioned, we did push back that return to campus so that we got outside of that 14-day window from New Year's Eve. So we pushed that back, and we're scheduling and staggering people to return to residence housing. We do have a smaller number of people returning to residence housing than what we normally have on campus. And we also pushed back the face-to-face start date for all of our classes so that once we get everybody back, we can kind of have another phase of cleaning out, letting the vaccine and everything settle down before we jump into classes.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that we're doing.
If there are other things, feel free to chime in. Continue. If there are a couple other things that you want to certainly contribute, go right ahead.
I think one of the best things that campus is doing is, or very early on, we built our own version. We call it the COVID Pass. Like many other campuses and large businesses, they have some type of format for screening everybody when they come to campus. What EMU has done that's really essential is they've staffed the entrances to all of our doors. So we actually have staff members there checking, and we're training them how to politely tell people, we really need to see this COVID pass, or sorry, I really can't let you in right now, so that they are polite and respectful and know how to handle these situations. But we really aggressively use that COVID pass. And I think one of the best policies that EMU has allowed telehealth to enact is that we don't just want a COVID-free campus.
Mm-hmm.
We want a healthy campus. And if you look at the list of symptoms that people have with COVID, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, upper respiratory, head cold, congestion, cough, fever, body aches, headache, loss of taste or sense of smell, and now rash is a new one that we're seeing an awful lot of. That's almost every virus that's out there. And so it's not enough to say we don't think you have COVID. There's many times that someone says, I have the sniffles and I think it's my allergies. But how do we know the difference? So we've been able to use our nurse practitioners at the top of their license to be able to make those types of determinations of what's going on with patients. But the policy that's important is that if we don't know what's going on, then we can hold you for 72 hours from campus. And so what that means is that person that says it's just a head cold, that's okay. We don't want you to come to campus right now. And we use those compassionate policies for taking care of students on campus that are missing classes because of it, because we want them to be healthy. We've trained an entire generation that, we tell you if you're sick, stay home. But most people think, I still have to go to work. But now we're trying to really battle that and change those ways that we've done things. And I think this is helping, but I think it's one of the biggest things that helps keep our campus safe.
And as we talk about just the protocol
Mm-hmm.
and the mask wearing and everything else that we're supposed to be doing, what is the overall compliance, do you think, with students? Are they generally compliant? Is it generally has there been any pushback? Talk about that level of success when it comes to the compliance of not just the students, but the faculty and administrators in terms of going through the proper steps to get back on campus. Is it high? Is it low? Is it pretty stable? Kind of talk to us about that.
Sure. And I'm really glad you asked that question about compliance, because I love to brag about our students. We have our EMU just has some of the best students out there. And that's one of the reasons I love working at EMU, is because of the student body. But our compliance for mask wearing on campus, I don't want to say it's perfect, because somebody will surely say, hey, I saw somebody. But whenever I've been to campus, whenever the president's been, we all talk about this in our meetings. Everybody's wearing masks. They get it. They're doing the right things. The biggest problem that we have is, people will ask, can I wear a face shield instead of a mask? And the answer is no. They do two different things. Masks actually protect the air coming out for other people and somewhat for yourself as well. But that clear face shield doesn't protect anybody except you from touching your face. So they do two different things. So our biggest compliance issue is education. When people ask, we have to take the time, step back and say why our public health advisory group actually did the research, provided that to the steering committee and said, this is why our policy should be this way. And our overall compliance through education has been very successful.
I did not know that about shields, face shields. And this is why you're talking about education And for those of you viewing, this is why we have these types of conversations. I mean, we obviously have heard about wearing masks and we've heard about the face shields, but to hear what Sherry Bumpus is saying is very important that we all understand that. And I'm so pleased to hear about the overall compliance. One of the things that I've noticed too, based on my past conversations with President Smith and the weekly communications he'll send out to the university at large, is that as a result, it appears that our overall rates are relatively low compared to other institutions, I guess, maybe other levels of other businesses. Is that a fair statement, or am I a little bit off key there?
Well, I'm a little bit superstitious. So for me to say something, actually, I'm going to have to knock on wood.
Okay.
But yes, our rates have been relatively good, especially compared to some of our neighboring institutions. And, there's a lot of reasons for that. I think that our students are very compliant. And I have to thank all of our students for all of the hard work they're doing, for physical distancing and for wearing the masks and all of those types of things. I think our communications department has done a phenomenal job. Our communications department has made signage very clear. People know where they need to be. And we've also created spots, not for people to gather, but for people to be physically distanced in a way that they could still be part of a community.
Mm-hmm.
And outdoors when we were able to before the temperatures got cold. So we've done a lot of things from a communication standpoint, from an entry to campus standpoint, and then as well our telehealth program. Our telehealth program works with the Dean of Students and works with the Washtenaw County Health Department. You might have heard at different points during the fall semester that turnaround time for test results from our local area were as much as 5 or 6 days to get test results. Well, the number of people you can come in contact with 5 or 6 days is substantial.
Yeah.
So with our testing protocol on campus, for the most part, we were getting results back in about 48 hours. So we were far ahead and we were able to grab people out of the mix very early, put them into quarantine or isolation, keep them from campus, and that's made a tremendous difference.
And before we wrap up briefly, I got to ask you, be remiss if I didn't ask you about the vaccine.
Sure.
Please give us a brief overview of the vaccine situation for students as well as faculty and everybody else on campus.
Certainly. So the vaccine, the first thing we need to know is that it's in short supply. So we asked for, I think Michigan asked for over 300,000 doses, and we got not even half of that. So it's in short supply. They've ordered more. We're expecting to get more, and people need to be patient. We are putting people into vaccine groups and sending out information as quickly as we can when the health department directs us to do so. You will get an invite to register. If you register and you get a time, you're good to go. You are good to go. But if you don't, keep trying to register. Those slots will open up when the vaccine's available.
Well, Sherry Bumpus, I want to thank you very much for this important update. And we appreciate all that you're doing in terms of keeping our campus safe. Thank you very much.
And thank you again for having me and for getting this information out there.
My pleasure. So what we're going to do is I'm going to encourage all of you to watch this, share this show with others. Don't forget to wear a mask, be socially distant, wash your hands, do all the things that we can possibly do, and we'll be safe. And I want you all to go out and make it a great day and make it a great week. And we will check you out next month on EMU Today TV.